Avatar The Last Airbender is one of the greatest series of all times. It is such a complex show that even though it was targeted for kids, it continues to be talked about years later and still holds top ranks in the list of critics and fans alike. We always want more, and some things are not always answered completely. The question I always wondered is why Ozai became Fire Lord over his older brother, Iroh. Even if Iroh's only heir and son had died, it would have been expected of him to remarry and produce another heir, or simply name his brother Ozai and his children as his heirs after he assumed the throne. But Iroh was completely skipped over, and while it seems that he accepted it, I always wondered why, and more importantly, how it happened so peacefully. History shows us that monarchies and transitions of powers are never this simple. In Avatar The Last Airbender, we find out that Fire Lord Ozai asked Fire Lord Azulon to skip Iroh after the death of his son. Lord Azulon becomes very angry and even asked if Ozai expected him to betray his firstborn son. Azulon is so angry that he lights up his throne room and orders that Ozai's first son and his own grandson, Zuko, is executed as punishment for these crimes. Though as terrible as Ozai's actions were, unfortunately this isn't uncommon throughout history. Family members fighting over the line of succession has been seen over and over again. Schemes like this are very dangerous as it can lead, and have led, to bloody civil wars. It has been seen as so egregious and dangerous that in most civilizations even the suggestion is considered treason and is punishable by death. In England, the monarchs were so fearful of questions to the line of succession that they continuously killed each other until there was only one claimant left or all the others fell in line. The War of the Roses pitted the Lancasters and the Yorks against each other. Both families were descendants of Edward III and claimed to be the legitimate heirs of the throne. Each side had their powerful supporters to provide arms and wealth for their cause. As the vicious war raged on, these supporters changed sides multiple times as each side gained in the war. This was a very bloody war that lasted over 30 years and that every future monarch of England remembered and hoped to never repeat, and they would prevent it by any means necessary. In addition to tens of thousands of countrymen dying, it caused the thinning of the royal family that led Henry VIII to ascend the throne. He then divorced or executed a number of his wives because they could not produce him a male heir. Henry desperately wanted a male heir so that the line of succession could not be doubted. He eventually got his wish, and his only legitimate son became king. When Edward IV died young and without any children, his cousin Lady Jane Grey was schemed to become queen. After a few days as queen, Edward's half-sister Mary took her supporters, took power, and executed Lady Jane. Queen Mary, who some remember as Bloody Mary, was then urged to execute her half-sister Elizabeth. It was believed that Elizabeth's Protestant supporters would rally behind her and overtake Mary. Mary refused and named Elizabeth as her heir. When Queen Mary passed, Elizabeth became queen. But then her cousin, Mary Stuart, or Mary, Queen of Scots, was considered by many as the legitimate heir, and some accused Elizabeth of being a bastard and should have never been added to the line of succession. After a failed assassination attempt on Elizabeth, Mary Stuart was blamed and executed. There's a lot more to that drama, but you get the point. In the Ottoman Empire, unlike in the European monarchies, the Sultan didn't have just one wife. They had a harem consisting of dozens of women, sometimes hundreds, and any of his children by those women were considered legitimate and a potential heir to the throne. When the old Sultan died, the knives came out. Dozens of brothers would be killed to establish one heir to the throne. The most notable was Mehmed III, who once his father died, ordered the execution of 19 of his brothers. Though the Atlas universe does not go much into detail about previous power struggles, it should be assumed they had similar conflicts. Ozai, being a well-educated prince, would have learned of such events. He schemed to ascend the throne, knowing well he was not the next in line. Worst of all, his brother, a general and well-respected man of the Fire Nation's highest society, was still alive. After the death of his only child, Iroh was said to have been going through a spiritual and internal struggle. He traveled the world and distanced himself from the war and his country. He did not attend Fire Lord Ozai's coronation, though given his high rank in the royal family, he would be expected to. His absence and retreat may be solely due to the loss of his son, but I believe that Iroh even if slightly worried, knew the Fire Nation was not safe for him. His brother had stolen the throne from him and must have moved quickly to build his internal government full of loyal confidants. Iroh would be in danger of any assassin that could have been bribed to attempt to go after Iroh, may it be in the capital or in one of his military camps. Iroh's return to the capital meant he had fully acknowledged his brother as Fire Lord, and while this may sound nice to Ozai, Ozai knew Iroh would always be a threat and he had to get rid of him. As history shows us, one bad decision or outcome and everyone blames the head of state, and Ozai could have quickly fallen from grace and had the aristocrats and military turn to the next best option, the eldest son of Fire Lord Azulon, a general that was wise, strong, and very much respected. But then Zuko got exiled. Iroh had been his firebending master and mentor. Iroh had also grown to love Zuko as his own son.
Sorry, I just nag you because, well, ever since I lost my son.
Uncle, you don't have to say it.
I think of you as my own.
I know, Uncle. We'll meet again.
And this was Ozai's perfect excuse and opportunity to rid himself of Iroh. Send him with his failure son with a small group of sailors to hunt for the Avatar. Nearly an impossible task since the Avatar was believed to not have been reborn, as he was not seen in 100 years. If Zuko and Iroh succeeded, then Ozai would take all the glory, and if they failed, or they were lost and died, then Ozai would also win. But Ozai still had a problem. Iroh was still very well respected regardless of where he was at. Despite being retired and an army general, Admiral Zhao had offered him a position in his inner circle as an advisor. Then in the North Pole, Iroh goes against Admiral Zhao and the Fire Nation after Zhao wants to destroy the Moon Spirit. This is Ozai's chance to rid himself of Iroh. Ozai makes sure everyone knows that Iroh is a traitor.
Iroh is a traitor, and your brother Zuko is a failure. I have a task for you.
Even his old friends turn against him.
Colonel Monkey, what a pleasant surprise.
If you're surprised we're here, then the Dragon of the West has lost a few steps.
Iroh is happy to see his old friends, the Rough Rhinos, but they make it clear that Iroh is a persona non grata. Zuko and Iroh defeat the Rough Rhinos, and as Zuko and Iroh flee, Iroh mentions how it's always nice to see old friends, which Zuko then asks if he has friends that don't want to kill him, which Iroh thinks about it and ultimately can't name any. At the end of Season 2, Iroh is captured after he helped the Avatar escape. He is thrown in jail, and this is where Iroh's reputation in the Fire Nation is at an all-time low.
You used to be the pride of the Fire Nation, our top general, the Dragon of the West. Now look at you. Look what you've become.
The guards, other than Ming, treat him horrible. They throw food at him and insult him, mentioning how he used to be the hero of the Fire Nation, and now he's a pathetic old man.
What's going on in there? Crazy old man.
Now, some may ask, why didn't Ozai kill him now? He had tarnished Iroh's name to the ground, and Iroh had betrayed the Fire Nation. No one would openly support Iroh now. Well, I have 3 theories. First, it's a kid's show. Though genocide and people die, it would be difficult for Nickelodeon to kill such a main character. 2, Zuko asked for Iroh to be spared, but I don't think he would be stupid enough to openly lobby for Iroh, especially after being welcomed back into Ozai's grace. 3, Ozai wanted him to stay alive as a symbol. Ozai was now the undisputed claimant of the Fire Nation throne. The alternate would be his children that were completely loyal to him, or his brother that was a traitor and decrepit. While Iroh no longer wanted the throne, even after the deposition of Ozai, his presence would have never let Ozai rest peacefully. Ozai wanted Iroh dead, but doing so could have caused a lot of backlash. If he had failed to kill him on the first try, Iroh could have raised his own army with his influence and either defeat Ozai or greatly damage and divide the Fire Nation. Hello all, this is LoreQuest and want to thank you for watching our very first video. While it might not be as well produced as other channels you follow, we hope to get there one day. History and fantasy are our passion, and we hope to bring you more videos connecting history to fantasy and to explain how real history influences so many series that we love. We plan to cover any series that has a fascinating lore. We will try to respond to all comments as we are very interested in the discussion about this topic. Do you think Ozai feared Iroh even after his coronation? We expect to release another video very soon, so please like and follow. Until next time.